إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستغفره ونتوب إليه. الحمد لله الذي هدانا إلى هذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين، فصلوات ربي وسلامه عليه. أحبتي في الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. All praise and glory belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to Him alone. And we are thankful to be given another opportunity to witness Yawm al-Jummuah. It's a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many people passed away recently and they didn't have the chance. And I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about, in my opinion, an important concept, an important subject that mankind, and Muslims are not the exception, are pursuing or trying to attain. The concept of happiness. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll take an opportunity of these few moments that we have together to address the concept of happiness in Islam. What does it mean to be happy? How do you define it? What are the parameters that are important to you to consider yourself to be a happy person, a happy Muslim? يقول الحق عز وجل: ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. The scholars, they say, without the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without following the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Sirat Rasulina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we wouldn't be happy. So many people in this society at large, and Muslims, like I said, they're not the exception. They pursue different things to be happy. Can we please turn off the cell phones and put them on silent? Let's worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way that He deserves to be worshipped. Some of us consider having a big, fat bank account, a nice big house, a fancy car, successful business, to be the measuring sticks for being happy. But like I said, the building block, the foundation of happiness is stated in a surah that all of us memorize. يقول الحق عز وجل: والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states it in this beautiful surah. This is the roadmap for happiness. Mankind is lost. Mankind would not be happy unless They believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they do the righteous things. They do good deeds. And then they encourage one another to be good Muslims. They encourage one another to stay on the straight path. But if we are pursuing happiness and having a big bank account or a fancy house or a successful business or a good job, we are losing our focus. Listen to this beautiful hadith on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's describing two people on Judgment Day. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يؤتى بأنعم أهل الدنيا من النار يوم القيامة. The ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the most, the wealthiest of the wealthy in this dunya, who are the people of the hellfire, what's going to happen to them? يؤتى بأنعم أهل الدنيا من أهل النار يوم القيامة فيصبغ في النار صبغة. They will dip him in the hellfire. Just dip him a little bit. ثم يقال له يا ابن آدم هل رأيت خيرا قط? All your billions, all your success in dunya, have you seen anything good? But now he's tasting the hellfire. He said, no. I haven't seen anything in this dunya that's good. And then look at the other side of the coin. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam describes وَيُؤْتَى بِأَشَدِّ النَّاسِ بُؤْسًا فِي الدُّنْيَا وهو من أهل الجنة فيصبغ في الجنة ثم يقال له يا ابن آدم هل رأيت بؤسا قط? The one who struggles in this dunya barely had enough. And he is from the people of Jannah. They will dip him a little bit in Jannah and they will say, have you seen hard times? Were you unhappy in dunya? فيقول لا والله, I didn't see any hard times. The point that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is telling us, sallu ala al-habib al-Mustafa, that we should not lose our focus. Our focus should be on akhirah. And in order for you and I to be happy in this dunya and the hereafter, number one, mardatullahi azza wa jal. You have to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to commit yourself to this deen. I'm not saying give up dunya. Live well. Have successful jobs and businesses. Have nice homes and cars. But don't lose your focus. Your focus is not on this dunya. It's on the hereafter. One of the great scholars sums it up in a beautiful phrase. He said, لا سعادة في متاع زائل. There is no happiness in something that's not going to last. Don't fool yourself. Our successful businesses, our big jobs, our big homes, our nice cars, they're not going to last. ولا لذة في شيء عابر. you would not taste anything sweet in something that's going to pass by very quickly. And dunya will pass very quickly. As I was driving up here, I remembered a very good brother, a friend of mine and yours, Brother Anwar Tawfiq, rahmatullahi alayhi. And I was trying to visualize, even when he passed away, how happy he must have been. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him to be in Mecca, in Ramadan, in Yawmul Jummuah, to pass away. Over 2 million people prayed on his janazah, and he's buried in Mecca. And we always make dua, Allahumma rzuqna husna al-khatimah. Because we want to be happy while we are alive, and also we want to be happy when we pass away. I'm sure I shared with you the story, and forgive me if I have. But there is a reason why I repeat it all the time throughout my travel in this country, to make a point. Sheikh Mujahid in Fort Worth, back in the 90s, told us the story of 2 young men in their 30s. They came to the Masjid before Asr with the hearse. And they told him, Ya Sheikh, our father passed away and we got his body. And Sheikh Mujahid gave his condolences to these men. And he said, Inshallah, after Asr, we will pray janazah. But if you don't have wudu, go make wudu. Listen very carefully. If you don't have wudu, go make wudu. So we can pray Asr Jama'ah and then we'll pray janazah on your father. They looked at him both and they said, Ya Sheikh, we don't know how to make wudu. This man who passed away, he left millions to his kids, or these 2 young men. Businesses here in Texas and overseas. Do you think he left them happiness? Or do you think he left them a huge challenge? A man at age 30 can't even make wudu. يقول الحق سبحانه وتعالى, another indication, another ayah that sets the foundation for happiness. يقول الحق عز وجل, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون. Don't let your money, don't let your wealth be a reason for you not to remember Allah. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. When you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will feel that inner peace, that tranquility that everybody is seeking, the happiness that everybody is trying to grasp. I have been in this country 47 years. I have seen it changed drastically. Our numbers increased. I remember when we used to pray in a small apartment and then in the shopping center before we built this beautiful facility. And now we have a huge project waiting for you outside. And if you ask the brothers and the sisters who started this organization way back, how do you feel today? You will see their eyes light up from being happy and content. Serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, establishing Masjids and schools, coming to the aid of the needy and the depressed is a source of happiness that we all should pursue. Let's not focus on dunya alone. I want to remind you and myself of a beautiful hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this beautiful messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for a reason. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Listen to what he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. The affairs of the mu'min are truly a puzzling wonder. إِنَّ أَمْرُهُ كُلُّهُ خَيْرٌ. All of our affairs are khair. We just don't realize it. وَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ إِلَّا لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. This particular characteristics, the foundation of being happy, it's only reserved for mu'mins. إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرٍ. When the good times are here, when he has that good job, when business is doing well, when he's healthy, when his kids are healthy, he should turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, "Oh Allah, thank you so much for your blessings." فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. And in that, there is a khair, because he remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to ask you the same question I ask my brothers across this country. Why are you here? Why did you come to America? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose you and not your cousin back home or your neighbor? You think it's only to make money and be comfortable? Or do you think there is another purpose for you? Even when you're doing well, you should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that, there is khair for you. And the hadith continues, وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء صَبَرٍ. When times are tough, when things are not going well, he is patient. There is a phrase that has no place in the Muslim society. Why me? Muslims should not say that. When times are tough, we become patient because Allah knows best what's best for us. فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. And when you're patient, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. As I said in the beginning of this khutbah, people are seeking happiness. They are grasping for all kinds of ways to be happy. The focus should not be only on dunya things. You and I should reevaluate our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How committed are you to the deen? Are you involved in the affairs of the community, or are you just sitting on the fence and watching? Or worse, are you only criticizing? Sometimes criticism is needed. And as a person who served on the board before, I know boards are not perfect. But that's not the only thing we need to do. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وتواصوا بالصبر. We need to encourage one another. We need to give nasiha, because our ultimate goal as a community collectively is to be happy. I went to a community in Florida to help them fundraise for their Islamic school. My first time ever in that community. And one of the community members came to me and he said, before you do anything, I want you to know this is a useless project. We're talking about Islamic school. Why? Because he has some feelings against the board. He said, we shouldn't waste our money. The only thing that came to mind, Hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. You don't believe in the project? You don't want to support it? That's good. But don't come to a guest speaker and say, this is a useless project. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون. Truly the losers and the ones who are not happy in this dunya and they would not be happy in the hereafter, the ones they neglected dhikrullah, the ones they neglected working for the sake of propagating La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. This is the reason you're here in the country, brothers. Yes, you're here to make a good living, to be comfortable, to provide for your family. But you and I are going to be asked Judgment Day, what have we done to propagate the message of La ilaha illallah? And I'm not talking about being committed 100% to da'wah programs. I'm talking about being a good example for the rest of the community at large as a Muslim. After 9/11, when I was serving on the board of IANT in Richardson, we were sitting with Dr. Yusuf Kabakshi, and a white man came in, an old man. This is September the 12th. And he said, where is your leader? And we all pointed to Dr. Yusuf. He said, you have a big problem. And we thought he's going to threaten us. He said, I know about Islam. Islam is a beautiful religion. I have been a contractor for over 40 years, building contractor. I got cheated 4 times in 40 years. And all those 4 times, I was cheated by a Muslim. So he looked at us and he said, you have a lot of work to do, because the eyes of the society is on you, especially now. And people will look for reasons to harm you. So you need to be a good example. Back to the point, to be happy is to reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be a good Muslim and to be a good example. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستغفره ونتوب إليه. As I stated in the beginning of my khutbah, the reason I chose this topic to talk about the principles of happiness, it's not to divorce ourselves from dunya. To the contrary. When you look at different segments in this society, the most successful are the Muslim society. We work pretty hard. We are high achievers. Every center that I go into, it's absolutely full of talented people. Diverse, experts. But are we keeping this to ourselves, or are we sharing with the community? What am I doing to improve my community, my masjid, my Islamic school? What could I do to be a source of happiness for others? يقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث صحيح: ليس الغني عن كثرة المال ولكن الغني غني النفس. To be happy and to be wealthy, it's not necessary, the only reason. غناء النفس. You should have proud in yourself as a Muslim. And you should come forward and contribute your talents and know-how to improve the conditions of the society at large and to uplift our Muslim community. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very clear. في سورة النحل يقول سبحانه وتعالى: من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة. Whoever do righteous, whoever do good deeds, whoever is a positive agent of change, and they are mu'min, whether they are men or women, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making the promise they will have a happy, successful life. And the ones who keep to themselves, the ones who are selfish, they need to rethink about Surah Al-Asr. Because the commands from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very clear. It's very inclusive. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Iman is very important. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. You remember that story of Umar ibn al-Khattab, who saw a person sitting in the masjid day in and day out. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm only worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." He slapped him. He said, "Get up and go work. Do good for the community." إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Give one another advice. Keep us on the straight path, because that would be the reason for us to reach the goal of trying to be happy as community. Do you remember how happy you were in Ramadan? In Taraweeh? You came here and you stood up all night. You fasted all day. I want you to go back and relive that inner feeling, because you connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You connected with the Jama'ah. Let's go back to those beautiful feelings of reviving and strengthening our Iman to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remembering that nothing will cause us to be happy. Nothing will give us tranquility and peace of mind if we don't remember dhikrullah when times are good and when times are bad. And the last thing I want to share with you, the importance of being part of the community. Listen to this beautiful hadith عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يقول الحبيب المصطفى: من أفضل العمل إدخال السرور على المؤمن the best thing you can do is to make another Muslim, another mu'min happy. To be a source of happiness for others. It doesn't matter how small the favor or how big it is. The fact that you remember your brother and sister in the hour of need, that will make him happy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the happiness in this dunya and the hereafter, inshallah. Allahumma as'adna fi dunya wal akhirah, ya Rabbil Alameen. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وآل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر المرابطين في المسجد الأقصى يا رب العالمين اللهم انصرهم على أعدائهم أعداء الدين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين يا رب العالمين اللهم ارزقنا حسن الخاتمة اللهم ارزقنا حسن الخاتمة اللهم احفظ أولادنا وبناتنا ونساءنا من كل شر وسوء اللهم حبب إليهم الإيمان وكره إليهم الكفر والفسوق والعصيان عباد الله إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وقم الصلاة